I want to bring in Peter Baker, New York Times chief White House correspondent and MSNBC political analyst. Bill Reinsch is the former Commerce Undersecretary in the Obama administration, now senior advisor with the economics program at the Center for Strategic and International Studies. Guys, good to have you. 15 deals on the table, Peter. Do we have any idea who these countries are, which might be a priority, who's talking to who, anything at all?
Not yet, no, but I think we're going to see some of the ones that matter the most. Countries like Vietnam obviously is important. Obviously, Europe is important, but we're not seeing China. China and the United States are in this escalatory cycle right now. There did not seem to be at least any public indications of any kind of compromise coming soon, and that's one of our largest trading partners. So these deals are, whatever's being offered in these supposed deals being put forward may be enough for Trump to declare victory and go home on some of them. But they won't be extensively thought through or negotiated deals of the kind that we've seen in the past. You can't possibly do that in 90 days. But there may be enough to kind of de-emphasize or to diffuse this crisis, at least with a few countries.
Well, Bill, what would be the challenge of trying to negotiate trade deals with dozens of countries all at once? And again, with a clock ticking, what does that even look like on a practical level?
Well, they're going to divide it up. They're going to divide up the workload to begin with, which I think will solve part of their problem. Plus, countries have to stay in line. They'll prioritize the big ones: Japan, Korea, Vietnam. Europe, I think, maybe a little bit later because it's going to take them some time to figure out what they want to offer. It's complicated because there's 27 of them. I think the other thing is the way they've structured the negotiations. It's simple at our end in the sense that what we're expecting is the other countries are going to come in and make offers. And all the United States is going to do is say, well, if it's an acceptable offer, we won't raise our tariffs. So we don't have to spend a lot of time trying to figure out what we're going to offer them. We're going to offer them all the same thing, which is to go back to the way it used to be 2 weeks ago. So that saves a lot of time on our side. Plus, if they end up only talking about tariffs, that's not a complicated negotiation because that's about numbers. We say 0, they say 10, 5, they say whatever they say. Then you have a negotiation and you end up with a number. Where it gets complicated and where they'll run beyond the 90 days, if they start getting into non-tariff barriers that are about how other countries organize their society. Example, a lot of these barriers that we see are agriculture. They won't buy our chickens, they won't buy our pork, they don't take our corn or wheat. We think that's protection. They think that these are health barriers, that they are protecting public health from American products that are unsafe. And so they may not be right about that, but that's what they think. Asking them to reorganize their society and accept, in their view, lower health, safety, and environmental standards, that's a much bigger ask than asking them to lower their tariffs. So, if we stick to tariffs, I think they could get it done, and they could get it done in 90 days, even with 75 countries.
So, Peter, Trump did offer some relief to those countries by offering to negotiate, something which he had said he wasn't going to do. But, of course, now we have this back and forth with China. China hitting back with 125% on U.S. goods today. What are you watching for going forward?
Well, I mean, obviously, you don't see either side blinking on that one for now. The question is whether or not the United States under Trump is going to try to rally other countries in the confrontation with China, right? I mean, at the moment, we're currently at odds with our own allies, the countries in Europe and other places that we would normally try to work with to craft a common approach to what we should do with China trade. But instead, we're busy fighting a multi-front war, in effect. Now, China is the main target at the moment because of the pause on some of these reciprocal trade tariffs on the others. But it makes it hard to find a common strategy. And I think that without that common strategy, it's whatever deal he ultimately comes up with, is suspect because China can go other places.
Which begs the question that a lot of headlines have been blaring, Bill, which is who blinks first? I mean, both men obviously have serious domestic considerations, both economically and politically.
Yeah, I think of it like a sumo match. You got these giant 400-pound people stomping their feet and glaring at each other and scattering rice around, and they'll do a belly bump, and eventually, they'll figure out a way to get together. Neither one wants to be first. Neither one wants to be the one that's asking, and they'll get there. But I think that in the meantime, what you're going to see here is it's not so much, you'll see higher prices, yes, but I think you're going to see shortages. What we're hearing already is retailers are canceling orders. They're just they don't see a market for something that they have to mark up on more than 100%. So the next story, 3 weeks from now is going to be, we're going to not get stuff, and bare shelves, and people are going to be reacting to that in addition to higher prices. Eventually they'll talk. Both sides want a deal. Personally, I think the United States probably wants it more than the Chinese do. And they'll figure out a way to get there. They usually do.